Jree is still available. Fizz is still available. Gragas, after seeing all of yesterday's games, unless it's put in a support role by nRated, I don't think we're going to see in that top lane. But Maokai is still up.
Yeah.
So the question for Millenium has to be, do they ban Maokai or do they risk giving that over? Does Freddy even want to play Maokai? Maokai is not your traditional top lane split pusher. So I actually think this is very smart.
I think he does.
By taking the Nidalee away, Freddy did phenomenal in Nidalee during Super Week. His kiting was good, he was in and out, and he was definitely showing an understanding of the rework Nidalee. But I don't associate Freddy with a full utility tank champion. He's a Renekton player mostly, you know, Nidalee, split push. A little bit aggressive, a little bit controlling the lane, so we'll see how he plays Maokai out.
Interesting setup, and again, it's the cow, ladies and gentlemen. Is that going to be Kevin playing Alistar in the top lane? It may well be. But more importantly, all of the AD carries available. It is Creaton focusing on Lucian. We didn't really see Lucian yesterday. It was all about Tristana and Kog'Maw and maybe Twitch now and again, but Lucian, first choice for Millenium. 12
games out of 28 during the summer split. Creaton ran Lucian. He lost 8 of those games. And that was before the changes. Now, Lucian, of course, is going to have the shorter range, but is still incredibly mobile, is incredibly difficult to lock down. We need to see how well Millenium play the comp out with an Alistar, with a Lucian, and depending what they're going to lock in the next couple of seconds, you've already got a theoretical difference in styles. SK, Kog'Maw for late game, Maokai from mid to late game. If Millenium go for an early to mid game team comp, that could be how they look to engage and get in the window. No jungle bans. Lee Sin is available, Elise is available. Svenskeren and Kottenx, they've also played Lee Sin 12 or 13 times each respectively.
Well, Millenium knew they were going to be coming into this one having to counter their opponent. SK Gaming have been locking in those champions very, very quickly. They appear to be very happy with what they got so far. Of course, that Morgana and Kog'Maw locked in there. We'll see what Kerp does go with this Ziggs. We haven't seen anything appearing in the final choice. It's going to be Kottenx on Jarvan IV.
So that's a change when you consider all of the other jungles are up and available, but they have all had hits.
Wow. They are fast locking SK. They are ready to go.
My word. Okay, this is very, very quick. So we'll get to Millenium in a second. Let's quickly round out SK. Assassin in the mid lane, a lot of mobility and kite for pick potential with Maokai, with Kha'Zix, with Ahri. They can get in and out very quickly. I am a tiny bit concerned because Maokai is the main. Well, I guess you got a lot of appeal with Maokai and Morgana, actually, if a straight-up team fight were to occur. But SK may be the ones that are looking to pick and roam and look for kills very quickly. No Lee Sin, no Elise, who were available. No Rengar, who was up and available. Kha'Zix and Jarvan, when you see all of the hits that Lee Sin has taken, that Elise has taken, maybe this has forced a lot of the junglers at the LCS level to look alternatively, to look in other directions. For Millenium, they've got a good poke, they've got good engage with Jarvan and Aatrox, but I don't feel they've got an equal amount of peel for their AD carry. They don't need as much because, of course, Lucian is a little safer than Kog'Maw. But in terms of the play styles, SK are more assassin-focused, more burst damage with their jungle mid lane combo, and Millenium a little bit more utility teamfight and poke with that Ziggs. So SK playing pick, sort of, and Millenium focusing a little bit more for those team fights. We'll see who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, we thought the Alistar was going to be in the top lane for Kevin, but instead it's going to be in the other lane for the support for Jree. So what do we think overall?
I mean, Alistar's definitely come to prominence in that support role thanks to the fact that a lot of the other support champions have taken hits. And I like the disruption. I really like the bullying potential that you can put down with the Lucian, with that double tap passive. So if we get straight up 2v2s and Candy Panda gets caught up by a headbutt pulverize, and you've got Jarvan flying in there with the flag and drag, there is potential to squash that Caterpillar.
He's only got one flash, and he's going to have to use it sparingly, I feel, of course. Hasn't got the Thresh Lantern to help him out, to pull him out of there. So a lot of pressure on this bottom lane. We'll see whether the junglers decide to focus on it and how this one works out, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 is about to get underway. It is SK Gaming versus Millenium in the quarterfinals. This is a best-of-5 series. The winner will reach the semi-finals at Gamescom for the European regional playoffs, and it will be against Alliance, the #1 seed. Let's see how this one works out, ladies and gentlemen. SK starting out as the blue team, and Millenium, of course, are on the red team. We saw some pretty heavy invades yesterday from both Challenger teams and LCS teams. not working out too well for some of them. SK have a pretty strong CC if they were to invade, but it seems that they are going to stick and do the standard defensive line up that river early on. We'll see whether it becomes a late 2-minute invade.
Yeah, momentum is so important in game 1 of a best of 5. You really don't want to give up more than you absolutely have to. But I really want to keep my eyes on Kottenx and see where he goes with this Jarvan, how he plays Jarvan, because in the challenger scene, there are some fantastic Jarvan players who can use that flag and drag to bypass your regular warding patterns. And I'm going to go back to the warding story. If SK continue their under-warding trends that they have been doing over the course of the split, Kottenx can punish that very, very hard. Get in between the ward lines, get behind members of SK, and set his team up for some early kills.
Minions have spawned.
Well, it's going to be a duo lane going up top. Millenium are going for that late invade. nRated and Candy Panda need to be cautious. They don't get caught out by this one. There is a ward you can see just in the river, just below, that will see Millenium push. And I think Svenskeren and Freddy will be able to counter this one. They're going to go straight towards the blue. Remember, there is a ward on the blue. Millenium have vision of that one, so
yeah,
they're going to see it coming.
Due diligence has been done from both teams regarding warding. Millenium a little more defensively with that ward on their own buff that you talked about. But I think SK read the lane swap fairly well. Lucian is... Kog'Maw is a little bit of a lane bully, considering his Bioarcane Barrage doesn't have mana cost anymore. It does allow him to get some poke and some trades down early, and he may be able to punish Creaton, thanks to the fact that Lucian has got a much shorter range in 4.13 down to 500 units. But we need to see if Jree and Creaton play aggressively, they can jump in there. Only one person can be black shielded, and Pulverize can hit both of them. So Creaton and Jree will be looking for those opportunities to get the Piercing Light and the knockups on both members of SK's duo lane.
Well, Svenskeren, they had vision. He walked over the ward in the river, so they know that he is there. Nobody's going to be looking to counter, though. Kottenx went and took the Wolves as well. He passes over, and they also have vision. You can see he just passed by that one from Jesiz just off the side there. So, looks like the junglers are going to be happy about their paths, both stealing the blue from the opposite jungle. So, Jesiz versus Kerp. Number 1 and number 2, highest kills in the LCS in the mid lane. And
the interesting thing is, Jesiz is about 112, Kerp is 143. That is a very, very big gulf between, first and second. Kerp is all about killing to win. Because that's Millenium's strategy. They don't necessarily outsmart their opponents by moving around the map and taking objectives uncontested. They'll force you to fight, win the team fight, and then take objectives. And with a champion like Ziggs, even though his ultimate's got a longer cooldown, Kerp will be able to impact side lanes and dictate the tempo of a game, but it's not his traditional style. You do expect him to be on something a bit more aggressive.
I think for Jesiz, actually, Ahri is a champion that's worked very well for him in the past. So someone that he managed to pick up, obviously, when he had the changes in, 4.12 and 4.11, when the Ahri changed. It was only a tiny change, but it was enough to clear the wave at a certain point, a certain level. Freddy doing a good job at farming down this bottom lane. Of course, he is going to be on this Maokai this time around, up against the Aatrox of Kevin, a champion that Freddy is known for playing, certainly more than anyone. He used to pick this one first pick, blind into no matter what he was facing, so he's going to be well aware of this matchup.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of these sustained matches. One of the reasons Maokai does well against a lot of the current meta bruisers is the ability to get health back from his passive after a number of spells have been cast. So he sort of out-sustains you in the long run. But it's very difficult to out-sustain a sustained champion. Aatrox is built around the fact that he can keep himself relatively topped up as the fights go on. So this could just be a farm fest until jungler intervention is involved. Alternatively, roaming from Jesiz. Because you talked about his Ahri and how strong it was. And he was dealing with a teleport mid laner opponent, and he was responding to roams and movements around the map while his opponent had the stronger advantage of that teleport and still doing a very good job. So a lot of props to Jesiz for that.
You talked about the vision difference in the pre-game, and of course you just saw it there. Kottenx pink ward in the tri-bush, getting that vision down. Now coming around the back of Freddy, who is actually pretty far forward on this one, gets caught out, not quite knocked up though. That was a good disengage from Freddy, using the twisted advance onto Kottenx to avoid the damage from Kevin.
Yeah, it just shows a little bit of control from Freddy. Not really a threat, but look how much he's poking Kevin down. Despite the fact that Freddy is running out of mana for this, he is getting a little bit of lane dominance. And Kevin needs to keep auto-attacking, keep pushing the wave in order for it to work out. We do see Svenskeren is counter-jungling. Don't really expect him to hop over that wall unless Jesiz was 6 and lands a charm. But potential tower dive in the top lane if Sven is going to go aggressive. But it just looks like he's playing counter-jungle for the time being.
Yeah, knew that Kottenx, of course, was down in that bottom half. The jungle immediately went straight over the second he showed himself. So, Pulverize working. Candy Panda getting blown backwards. Creaton, though, pretty low on health here. Another Dark Binding landing onto Jree this time. Tormented Soil going down. Creaton having to sidestep that one. He is starting to fall behind in CS, and that is not something that should really be happening. Kog'Maw, if he starts to win out this lane pretty strong, there's no way back, surely, for a Creator.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kog'Maw's going to outscale a Lucian in the mid to late game, especially in terms of damage. But you can't deny the mobility factor on the side of Lucian. So in those prolonged team fights, if Millenium are able to get Kevin and Kottenx onto the right targets to get Candy down, you may actually see Creaton running circles around the potential damage threats. But in a straight-up toe-to-toe, he shouldn't actually win that out.
And that's exactly what Jree's going to be looking to do, of course, starting out with those boots. Boots of mobility almost certainly going to be coming very quickly. Expect the roaming cow to be happening. Candy Panda exchange with Creaton again. Candy Panda coming out on top. Dark Binding does not follow through, catches onto Jree, not the ideal target.
That was a perfect example of what we talked about. Creaton stands toe-to-toe with Candy Panda, a couple of auto attacks and spells, and he walks away with less HP. Had Jree jumped in there, got the knockup, then obviously that changes the equation entirely. A little bit cheeky there from Kevin, but he does get away. Teleport was used by Freddy. I expect Kevin to TP down himself. Cutlass picked up, and just a slow laning phase. Neither of these teams have put themselves in position to think about Dragon. So we'll just see whoever's going to make the first mistake, or whichever jungler is going to have a better impact. Sven, no real appearances in the lanes, and despite Kottenx briefly showing his face bottom, it didn't really change much.
Well, the thing is for Kevin, he's playing fairly safe. He's got that pink ward in the tri-bush, so if Svenskeren sneaks around that side, he's going to be well aware of it. Standard start for both the top laners as well. There's one in the bottom lane at the moment. It is going to be a Blade of the Rune King, it seems, for Kevin early on, and of course Freddy going towards that Rod of Ages. Kottenx now getting back to his own blue, will be gifted across to Kerp. We are about to see the same from Jesiz and Svenskeren as well on the reverse, so no counter jungling going on just yet for the buffs. Yeah,
you know, I'm looking at this job and it was locked in second rotation for Millenium. They knew that a Maokai, Morgana, and Kog'Maw had already been locked in. So against the duo lane of SK Gaming, as if they don't have flashes available, then that Cataclysm's going to be very effective. But Ahri can jump out, Sven can jump out, Freddy can jump out. So Kottenx really needs to make an impactful Cataclysm by locking in his opponent's AD carry and then relying on Kevin and Kerp to put damage onto the squishies before they jump, before they dodge those key abilities. Because there's a lot more mobility on the side of SK overall than there is for Millenium's front line.
Picked up by Jree down the bottom. Freddy engaging on Kevin. Bloodwell is still available, but he has to dark flight away from that one. Caught out. Freddy actually starting to come out on top in this exchange. Both of them using their ultimates. Kevin will just be able to lifesteal his way back to it, though. And that's not going to be a problem for him, of course, that Bilgewater Cutlass. Svenskeren, we can see, leveled up his Void Spikes as his first evolution.
So Kevin was able to sustain so effectively from the Bloodthirst Blood price being below 50% HP, and then obviously having that extended range from Massacre. But you can just see the trades. A Catalyst to Protector versus Bilgewater Cutlass, and Kevin is losing that 1v1 for the time being. He's not losing on CS though, so it's not actually costing him control.
One thing he did do though, he didn't have still got that available if he needs to get up to this top lane. Freddy's, of course, is still on cooldown, and about 2 minutes still remaining on that one at the moment. Kottenx is looking to head up there, but again, passing a ward, full vision of him. They know exactly where he's going. He's just simply getting some vision himself. There is a ping ward he might find out, and I wonder if SK want to protect it.
Well, we'll see if Kottenx can make anything happen. I think he didn't even walk into the bush, so they didn't see that pink ward. Mid lane is nigh ungankable for Kottenx because of the fact that Jesiz is going to have Spirit Rush. So unless he punishes a Spirit Rush flash window, Jesiz can play very safe. It's going to be difficult to kill a tree. That Maokai is always difficult to kill, despite the fact he doesn't even have too many tanky items yet. Now Jree's caught out.
Jree's in trouble. Immediately, 3 members coming in. A quick Cataclysm jumps in. There's Svenskeren out to pounce out. Mega Inferno Bomb does not find his target. Kottenx is going to go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Meanwhile, Candy Panda chasing on towards Kerp. He's got caught out Jree. Here comes Kerp around the side. Bouncing Bomb comes in. Candy Panda time to back away. He's still fancied on Jree though. Hasn't got that ultimate available anymore. That's on cooldown, but he is safe. It was a 1-for-1 trade, both junglers.
So 1-for-1, Creaton getting first blood, but Candy Panda actually comes out in a better position because he gets red buff out of the deal as well. Jree was quite smart. He did not use his Pulverize because the Black Shield had been used, saving it to knock up Svenskeren and nRated. Despite the fact that Mega Inferno Bomb was thrown, did not actually connect with anybody. And this is the scariness of that Kog'Maw. If he's allowed to just sit in place and put damage down, there's very little threat from Millenium that can challenge him. It is going to be very reliant on Kerp getting burst on him, or Kottenx and Kevin shutting him down early in those fights.
Difference in path for Kevin. Had to go towards that Spectral Cowl. As we mentioned, did have teleport available, so he could have gone in towards that tri-bush. Could have joined them there. But didn't get to use it. I didn't see whether there was any interrupts going on since Kevin did go back to base. You guys at home, well, 58% of you are believing, well, it's differing as SK start to do well in lane. 56% of you still back in Millenium. Pink Ward is still in the bush, and nRated making full use of it, clearing out the vision that Jree just tried to gain. This top lane, or duo pairing, whichever you'd like to prefer to them, it's absolutely going the way of SK right now. Candy Panda looking strong, and again, catching out Jree, has to flash away. Dark Binding would have caught out. That is a summoner spell burn.
Well, Creaton on this Lucian is not really impressing me, nor is Jree on Alistar. They've played passive, they've played farming, they've got an early to mid-game AD carry against a late-game AD carry, and they're not playing aggressively, they're not trying to shut him down. Kottenx, while he tried to gank Kevin, he's not really put any pressure on Kog'Maw at all. Kog'Maw's been gifted this 12 or 13 minutes worth of laning, and he's built up a small advantage over Creaton, but he's going to start hitting these power spikes sooner. We do see Creaton's going for that Blade of the Ruined King, so at the very least, that passive of his will be dealing more damage. But I'm just not sure if it's going to work out. I'm not sure if it's the right strategy. You know, Kog'Maw is very scary.
Oh, that's a problem. Creaton caught out there. Soul Shackles got caught, but Jree will get stunned out by it. It was a good headbutt from Jree, because that Soul Shackles was about to go down on Creaton, but got knocked away just before it was managed to reach full potential. Kottenx sneaking in towards the top there. Cataclysm available, goes straight in there. Candy Panda and nRated both flashing out of that one. Now the damage going back and forth. Look down the river. Svenskeren and Jesiz making the way to the top here. This is a dangerous, dangerous move. Millenium, they have to start backing.
That was impressive from Millenium to at least get both flashes. So the one lane that is really vulnerable to those Cataclysm ganks has been now caught out for the first time. But it needs to count. Kottenx needs to repeat that. The moment he has Cataclysm available, return to that top lane. Now what do you see Freddy and Kevin? Tank v tank. It's an exhilarating battle here, man.
Well, the fact that he's got the Spectral Cowl basically negates most of the damage Freddy does. He can lifesteal that back. Jree caught out here. Gets a good pulverize down on Svenskeren, waiting for that red buff. Kerp is just waiting off the side there. Quickly throws out the rubber ducky and a bouncing bomb. Jesiz comes back in there. Kottenx forcing Svenskeren away. Has to pounce. Got the red buff. Steal. Mega Inferno Bomb. Not going to be enough.
A little bit optimistic, I think, from Kerp. Dean's on Holy Grail was the only item he had there, but Svenskeren did manage to smite that one. So he walks away with the buff, denying that from Millenium, and SK looking very content, actually, just to continue farming this phase out. Sven has been even less present than Kottenx when it comes to ganking. And for SK in these team fights, Freddy's going to be playing this front line. I almost feel like SK are not going to be looking to engage a fight unless a Dark Binding or a Charm lands. Because if Svenskeren and Jesiz dive forward and Freddy does the same, all of a sudden you've just opened up Candy Panda to get squashed by Millenium. And we'll see, can Freddy get away? I'm not really sure there's a lot of threat here.
He's used his ultimate, both of them have. Kevin popping that ultimate on Freddy. Freddy just reacting. Kottenx now, he wants to start the dragon, I think. There's a lot of pings going down here, but the Dura lane are still at the top. It is going to have to be a blue buff for Kerp. He requires that, needs the cooldown to get that Mega Inferno Bomb on as short at least as it can. Of course, we are on 4.13. It's 120 seconds across the board, despite the fact he's up that level 2 ultimate.
And, you know, just to go back to the point we were talking about, for SK Gaming, if they land the key skill shot, you've then got a lot of tools to kill that person off. You know, follow up from Ahri, Kha'Zix, Maokai onto someone that's been rooted by a Dark Binding. First tower of the game should go to SK. Well, they've decided to play this one safe. Black Shield was wearing out, so won't be much longer before they take that one down. But it's one of these scenarios where SK's comp will be very good at reacting to a mistake by Millenium. And if SK can look for skirmishes, their team's going to do very, very well. Maokai, Kha'Zix, Ahri in side lane fights. All right, another top lane battle. nRated's been done.
No flash this time around. Cataclysm and Cologne catching on towards him. Soul Shackle's used. Teleport cancelled out there. That was Freddy going to join the party, but decided not required. That support already down. Now actually puts Candy Panda in trouble. Jree, meanwhile, Kevin, meanwhile, down that bottom lane, is playing cautiously. He's in a potential 2v1. Svenskeren's going to push in. Millenium want to push this tower. Remember, Millenium's own top tower is almost down. Are they going to try and get the dragon off this?
Well, they do have the numbers advantage, and there's no smite threat steal available. So, losing a tower, gaining a dragon, it is at least going to keep you probably quite close in gold at this stage, because everyone's a fairly high level. Kerp, Megan Furnace.
Oh, that's close.
No, that was very close. Good smite from Sven. So, lose a tower and a kill, but they do get dragon out of the trade. Still keeps them at 100 gold apart. Jree is going to be looking for one. He's got nRated.
nRated is the target. Is it going to be enough? Comes sliding back in. He will be knocked up. Who's going to go down though? Kottenx tanking the turret. He will drop. Oh, will he? Jree caught out there. Candy Panda gets one. Let's look down the river. Nobody's making tracks to get up here. Jesiz is a long way off. Despite their risky tower dive from Millenium, they don't come out with too many objectives from that one.
No, they're really just trying to punish that window of flash being unavailable. Yes, they do get a fairly simple kill on nRated, but Kottenx is not the tankiest. He's got a Negatron cloak. He doesn't have armor or a massive amount of hit points, so tower diving at this stage is going to be very risky. I mean, Tower's got a buff a couple patches ago. So we end up trading 1-for-1. Second kill of the game to Candy Panda, but it is also a 2-0-1 Lucian. With the Blade of the Rune King completed, it's going to be working towards that Ghost Blade as his next item. So, again, we'll see. Trinity Force is up. So we've got these sort of power spikes between AD carries, and we need to see how team fights work out. Freddy is going to get jumped by the cow.
Yeah, the cow coming in. There's the headbutt. Twisted advance interrupted it. Pulverize catches him. Taking a lot of damage here. He's going to get the cooldown back up in a moment. Creaton pops that pill toward the cut. Tries to get him slowed down with the Blade of the Rune King. Sorry. Creaton will get on towards him. He's taking too many tower hits. The Jree has to back off. Now Svenskeren comes around the side. Leaps in. Gets the reset. He can go towards Kottenx now. Teleport comes in. Kevin's going to join the party. nRated. Soul Shackle's catching on 3 members. Kevin chases on towards him, the AD carry, so the jungler calls out, top laner goes down, Bloodwell will come up, but he's got nowhere to go, he cannot take Candy Panda down in time, Lifesteal holding on strong, has he got enough? He's got no support, everybody backed away and left him.
Yeah, they were trying to leave the final hit for Candy Panda, and nRated didn't want to take that final gold. Fortunately, he was forced to take it, so it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of SK Gaming, and Freddy gets away with his life. Millenium threw everything in the kitchen sink at Freddy, but couldn't take him down, thanks to that ultimate of his, the Vengeful Maelstrom. Millenium do get a tower out of the trade as well, so net gold gain is in their favor, but very well executed team fight. We do see if nRated can get away in a second or two, and he is alive.
He is alive, managed to flash out there, flash game bump off, just off cooldown just in time there. So Kottenx ultimate traded for a flash. Bouncing bombs back in the middle, mines thrown out. Kerp still only just 1 assist from Jesiz so far. These mid laners not getting on the kill count just yet. Millenium have moved down on force though to make sure they can get this third turret of the game, of course, because Kerp just took that mid lane turret, going to put the pressure on it. Svenskeren has got his Void Spikes evolved along with his wings. Has got a little bit of wave clear. Jree, good use actually. The headbutt just outside of tower range, so he didn't pull the aggro.
Oh, here comes Freddy from behind with a good teleport.
Oh, that's going to catch out. Sapling will get the slowdown on Jree. Pops the ultimate, comes straight on towards him. Creaton's going to get focused. He'll get dropped down. Jree in trouble. Knock up, flashes away from this one. Ultimate running 70%. Is it going to be enough to reduce? Oh, he dodges out. It's not enough. He will go down to Freddy.
SK are really trying to channel that kill gold into the Kog'Maw. That's the second time in a row that they've delayed landing that last hit to try get Candy Panda to connect. Very good teleport from Freddy. Makes up for cancelling his one in that top lane earlier on. And Millenium just playing too greedy. They were trying to sort of half tower dive Svenskeren. He hit level 11 from that previous fight. didn't actually have access to those leaps a tiny bit earlier. We do see Millenium with at least a small response of grabbing blue. They'll be losing their own. But look at the vision that SK's put down on the map. This is a significant number of wards more at sort of this stage in the game than we're used to seeing from them. So good usage. It actually allowed Freddy to teleport in behind and get them those 2 kills.
So blue buff trades and counters. It does mean Kerp will get the blue. Jesiz will not, because Candy Panda managed to steal that one away. Mega Infinite Bomb was not used. They had a little bit of vision briefly, but they didn't see it coming. Kerp clearing out that ping ward. Svenskeren nearby. Teams are starting to group up here. Freddy comes in with the saplings. The AD carries left alone down the bottom. Both got 2 kills. Piece so far, but Candy Panda, you've got to feel, has the edge so far. But Creaton, we've got to see how, got to keep track of this build actually, because it is the new Lucian. Obviously the first time he's been enabled out of after that rework, and started off with the Bilgewater, Blade of the Rune King, sorry, Bilgewater cuts into Blade of the Rune King, now the Brutalizer. So
it's going to be ending up that Ghost Blade, and you know, it's that same sort of build where you get that couple of seconds of super power spike, but with the changes to the Relentless Pursuit, or we'll get to that in a second, there may be a fight breaking out. This is a 2v2 tops and jungles.
The catch on towards Freddy, in comes Svenskeren, a lot of damage going down, no blood well available for Kevin, that ultimate's getting him a good lot of life still, not enough. Kottenx now in trouble, he may well be focused, good twisted advance, gets knocked back. Freddy is going to catch on towards him, oh, he slid away. Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, catches both of them, not quite enough damage, but it will take enough of the wave down, but Freddy just simply tanks out, strolls up, gets the second turret of the game for SK.
Very, very strong from SK. While all of that was going on, oh, Creaton just gets destroyed. He even used heal for that? Even used summon a heal in a straight-up destruction. Now, the point I was making about the build, it's the same mobility burst power spike combo that we'd seen pre-Lucian changes, but with the additional movement speed that you get from his Relentless Pursuit and how frequently you can get it up, it actually makes him even more mobile, darting in and out. But the problem is, when you can't even stand 2 or 3 auto attacks from a Kog'Maw, you're never going to be alive long enough to have that mobility make sense. They've caught the cow.
Jree in trouble, has to use the ultimate. Is it going to be enough? Remember, it's a 70% reduction, but when that so much is hitting you, it's just going to not be enough. And Candy Panda, perfect timing again here. They were ready and waiting for it because they knew the dragon was up in 10 seconds time. It's going to be another easy pickup for SK.
SK played super patiently in the early game. They didn't put themselves in risky positions, and once they hit those item spikes, now all of a sudden they're looking for kills. Take a look at this. Very proactive from SK. Freddy's going to
dear.
He's dead.
Creaton, wow. Just strolling on through his own jungle. Not a care in the world. Kerp now, he's having to back away, and while you may have a Ziggs to wave clear, this is some heavy pressure coming out of SK. They can just keep on pushing these waves. At the moment, Millenium are being caught out and played at their own game.
Yeah, it's very easy for SK to lock single targets down. That's what their comp does very well. So as long as Millenium are providing single targets, SK will keep roaming and looking for opportunities to punish. But for the time being, it's all been SK's decision-making in this mid-game. If you look at Svenskeren's build, he's also going for a very similar build to Diamond actually during Super Week when he was running Kha'Zix so frequently. A lot of armor penetration, looking to kite and looking to assassinate people. Sven's not looking to start the fight, but he sure as hell is going to look to try and end that fight. Get those resets on his leap, have the damage supported and mitigated from Freddy if they jump in together on the same guy. But again, I still feel Millenium can't do well in full-on 5v5s, but they're starting to fall so far behind that they can't make up the strengths of their team fight comp because of the items their opponents have.
Yeah, and Creaton just simply didn't have the early pressure required. Candy Panda, meanwhile, happily farmed in lane, got himself all that CS, and now at 4-0-2 is an absolute beast. Blade of the Rune King added to that Trinity Force. Gives him a big advantage. Jomos has just been completed by Creaton, the Ghost Blade. So we'll see if it works out in his favor, but Millenium, they're going to have to turtle this one up pretty heavily. Yeah,
they have to rely on Kerp. They have to rely on wave clear and not giving up more kills. The moment Jesiz lands a charm or a dark binding, somebody's in trouble, and I think it's going to be Jree.
Oh, Jree caught out. It's going to be not caught out, flashed out of the dark binding. That would have been the death of him.
Yeah, it really would have. There was a lot of damage, and Jesiz almost bursted him down through that ultimate. So SK Gaming now grouped up. There's 4 members in the middle. They've got a minion wave coming in behind them. And Freddy's got teleport as well. He's pushing the top lane. It's something Freddy really likes to do. He loves pushing those side lanes. So a lot of damage on tower.
They're not going to follow up on it. It will be a simple poke from Candy Panda. And that strong wave clear that Millenium do have with the Ziggs is being threatened right now. Freddy moving around. Sapling's being tossed out. They can keep on poking them here. Millenium are in trouble. They can't hold this siege.
No, they can't. And they can't eat a single skill shot. When the charm lands or when the dark binding lands, SK Gaming can just dive themselves in. There's a Sunfire Cape on Freddy. Nearly fully stacked, actually. I think that's a fully stacked Rod of Ages. It is, as well as a Negatron Cloak. He's very, very tanky before his ultimate comes into effect. So SK Gaming are just going to look for their opportunities, look for the target, and they've found one.
They've found one. He's going to pile in there. Kottenx comes around the side. He gets dropped. Candy Panda gets another one. Kevin picked off. Bloodwell goes down. Creaton does get himself one kill. Freddy was dropped, but that will be the top laner Kevin picked off. Candy Panda very low after that Mega Inferno bomb. That will trigger the disengage for SK. In fact, no, they're just going to rotate around. The bottom turret is being pressured, and I'm not sure Millenium could get around quick enough to respond.
I really don't think that they can. They don't have the resources to pick up fight.
Oh! Svenskeren was not expecting an aggressive Jree, and SK back off.
So Candy Panda was so low, he actually didn't come to join that fight, and I think had he been there, that would have been a guaranteed tower. Regardless, he backed away. What I want to look at is how much damage gets put onto Candy Panda in such a short space of time. Because Freddy's the one that sort of tanks out this fight. He's actually caught out of position, and Kottenx alone does a lot of damage to Candy Panda. If Kevin had not actually been locked into that Cataclysm from a dead Jarvan, maybe would have put some more pressure onto Candy Panda, but it didn't work out that time. And there was enough protection, there was enough peel for SK to keep him alive and win the team fight.
Well, if one team in the European LCS wants fights, it is Millenium. So we'll see, despite the fact they're pressured, whether they actually back off or whether SK simply have to brawl them throughout this game. Bottom tower saved. Candy Panda clearing that wave. Big CS numbers starting to grow already. Kerp is miles ahead right now in terms of farm, 334 CS. Jesiz is getting some free hits on this mid turret and a lot of damage. He's also already built up a lot of ability power, which is transmuting into all of that damage on that tower. Deathfire Grasp was complete, and he will be able to single shot the likes of Creaton if he can get hold of them.
It just feels like it's a slow strangle. You know, SK are moving around the map, they're waiting for the minions to be in their favor, and then once they have the minions to support an aggressive play, that's when they make a move. And it's working out. Millenium, despite having, you know, brief moments that look good, they haven't done enough. So, Jree eats another Dark Binding. Rest of SK do not decide to commit, but they are very, very close. Svenskeren has got, again, a mixture of items. He's gone tanky instead of full armor pen, so diverging from Diamond's build. But I guess it makes sense. There's so much damage to Jesiz and Candy Panda. Just give him more frontline, give them more protection, and that's how you can win your team fights.
There is a lack of ward coverage, I would say, from SK Gaming right now. They've got that trivector of pink wards covering down towards the Dragon, which is up in 15 seconds, but not a lot else. There's a single ward on the Baron. The problem is, they know exactly where Millenium is, because they have to all stood clumped up as a 5 fighting this wave, while Svenskeren is just flittering around the side of the jungle. He's clearing everything from Millenium jungle. Considering
the amount of time SK just spent in the top half of the map, and then backing away, you would expect there to be more wards. But this is the least warding team. The team that wards the least.
Oh, look at this. Millenium, they're trading. They're going to try and run for Baron, I think. Looks like they're going to switch across. I'm not sure it's the right move, but it's, as we mentioned, there is only single ward. It will get spotted. That should stop it dead in its tracks.
They didn't have enough damage to rush it down. They took too long clearing out the wards. So if they were going to go attempt a trade, they needed to have gotten in much quicker or had better vision in that area. So the few wards SK did have actually prevents and delays
one ward
the theoretical trade. But Dragon goes the way of SK, and Millenium still just trying to find an opening. Millenium trying to make something happen. I just think it's taken too long for them. They're going to need Kerp to land poke, and then Kevin and Kottenx to instantly blow up Candy Panda. If they don't do that, I don't think Millenium can win a team fight at this stage.
And for SK, oh, Candy Panda caught out here. They're going to slide in. Cataclysm catches it out. He will turn the Dark Binding. The Soul Shackles around, but that's not enough when you're in a 4v1 situation. They're going to try and push on this one. Millenium shove it up, and now they're backing away. Where are they going to go? Are they just going to simply sweep for Vision.
Yeah, I think they have to just sweep for Vision. It's a small prize, but Morgana is not necessarily the biggest problem that Millenium have to deal with. They've got a massive oak tree to get through before they can get to SK Squishies. And
bottom tower going to go down to minions, I feel. I think Millenium will get the third one of the game there. There it drops. Panda did get down there, but not quite quick enough. So, SK, talking about Vision, what I wanted to get back to, my point was, at the point where they were sieging, there was a wave at the top, wave in the middle, wave at the bottom. Everything was okay and pushing in their favor. If that were to be a Fnatic or Alliance, that entire enemy jungle would be littered by now with wards. They would have full vision, full coverage, and then they'd start pushing and closing the game out. SK have been quick in the past at closing games out. But again, you just look at the jungle right now. Obviously, Millenium have made a pass there, but there's not really been any wards from SK the whole time.
No, I do agree with you. And
nRated out of position again.
Just not really sure what the decision-making is, you know, from SK. They do have a lead. They are playing as the dominant team in this matchup and dictating the tempo, but they could be doing more. And it just feels like they're not really sure how to break this next line of towers. They took a lot of damage to the mid lane. They've called Kevin.
Yeah. He's in trouble. Dark Binding, Chain CC. He should be able to jump away from this one. Has got flash available. Bloodwell was also up, but that's going to put him out of the fight for a while now. Don't think he's going to be able to find anything to lifesteal enough from. He's trying it on the golems, just in case SK choose to start the Baron. Now they're starting to get those wards down.
Yeah, so it's for the Baron dance that SK are going to be starting off. I still think SK are respecting the team fight power Millenium has, hence the reason they haven't gone in a straight-up siege scenario. Not only do Millenium have, you know, pretty good engage with Aatrox and Jarvan, but Millenium have got good wave clear. So SK is always going to be in a difficult position if they want to try siege a tower down. Anyways, they're going to play Death Bush. Dark Binding with Charm. Let's see if it connects. Not this time.
Yeah, they knew that was coming. It was pretty obvious. It's a good balancing bomb, actually. Yep. Landing some AE damage on both Svenskeren and nRated. Kevin has backed. He's got teleport available. He's going to wipe out that bottom wave that was building while Kerp pokes from range and actually starts working down the damage. Svenskeren and Panda sneak around. They're going to try and sneak out this two-man Baron. And honestly, Millenium are nowhere near. They're backed off already. I think they realize that it's happening, but they can't get close enough here.
They can't break through. Look at the front line. Maokai, Morgana, and Ahri. Anybody that comes through is going to get locked down, is going to get blown up. And of course, you know, Kha'Zix has had changes to those ISO spells, so he's dealing more damage to single targets. Baron's been secured. Let's see if Freddy can get away. The rest of SK, they're coming in close. This is going to be a big fight.
They're trying so much to take down that gigantic tank, but Kottenx instead. Jesiz comes in, blows him up. Jree taking the damage. Creaton's going to try and focus. Svenskeren jumps away. Kerp caught out and taken down. Freddy is going to get dropped here. Creaton jumps on towards him. Jesiz poked out as well. Millenium cleaning up here. There's a 2 for 2 so far. They're going to continue chasing. Flash comes out. Is not going to quite be enough. And SK, well, they picked up the Baron. Oh, they lost 2 members, sorry.
Yeah, so 2 for 2 trade and Baron. SK will be very happy with that. The only reason the team fight was so chaotic and messy was because of how split up SK Gaming were in the jungle. Freddy was peeling. Freddy was trying to keep Kottenx away from the Baron pit to reduce the threat of a steal, and that meant he got caught out. So we do see Millenium going to be going for that bottom inner turret. But take a look at the positioning is very key. Freddy was doing the best job he could, and because Candy and Sven got so low from actually two-manning that Baron, it also made this a very, very risky team fight. And SK are just immediately on the peel. I wonder if it may not have been smarter just to leave Freddy to die and back away. It would have been then a 1 for 0 trade, but you get Baron. But of course, that is, you know, hindsight being perfect 2020. You can't really expect that sort of decision making on the fly. So regardless, 2 for 2, SK get Baron, continue to hold on to their lead this game, and they are respecting Millenium's both team comp and wave clear. So let's see if they can get vision and try sneak towers with Baron on 3 members.
They need to make use of this one because, of course, Millenium did counter, took that bottom inner turret, so they actually have the tower lead currently, Millenium. Let's see whether they've been able to keep that trend up.
The funny thing is, from the very early stages of the game, Millenium actually had a tower lead, but was still even or slightly behind on gold. SK have just been doing such a good job of keeping up in total gold, and kills obviously are going to help them out in that regard. But slow, patient game. SK looking to get late, looking to get the unkillable Maokai, and then having a massive amount of burst from Jesiz as well as sustained damage from Candy Panda. But I need to see how they're going to push towers, because SK have been afraid to siege. It's going to be Death Bush versus Death Bush.
Who's the front man? That's the question.
Who gets caught? That's what's going to happen.
Jree caught with another Dark Binding, but he is not going to be the sacrificial cow this time around. They will not go deep on that. Kerp getting caught out. Jree actually taking it. Dragon was separated at the side. SK going to try and look to engage here. Kevin out of position, could get twisted advance on. He will, gets knocked up. He's in trouble. He's got his blood well available. Tries to turn it back around. They focus on towards Jesiz, but it's just not enough damage. Can he Panda focus? He goes down. Now can Creaton get going on the sidelines? He's at the back at the moment. Can he start picking up kills? Candy Panda did get another Cathian surprise down. So it's going to take it low. Oh, Creaton's gone too deep. Jesiz going to pick him up and will find him out. And just simply positioning, winning the fight out there from SK.
It was too late in the game to catch Candy Panda out. Despite the fact that they bursted him down so early and so quickly, the rest of the team had enough time and enough damage to clean up that fight. Millenium with a valiant attempt, but they needed that much, much earlier on. I mean, they locked Candy Panda in, landed that Cataclysm, slam-dunked him down, and managed to burst him out, but fortunately, Sven and Jesiz and the super beefy Freddy just sustained through the entire fight. And, you know, you just have to think about this Lucian. It was a first-round pick. And despite getting near perfect positioning, he's barely touching Freddy. Jesiz and Sven are about to jump on him in a second. And despite Creaton, you know, getting a bit bloodthirsty, a bit, you know, chasing the red mist, he just gets popped. Freddy was tanking 3 members of Millenium and lost only 50% of his hit points.
One thing I know as an AD carry, you shouldn't be rushing through to get that singular kill on a jungler when there's an Ahri right in front of you going, I'm just going to land a charm on you there. Ooh.
Very close. If that Lucian had been a Tristana with an Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Lost Whisper, I don't think he would have been able to kill Freddy, but I do think he would have had the range and the Buster Shot to make that team fight more in his favor. Get rid of Freddy, knock him away, get the auto attacks down onto the squishy targets. A first round pick for Millenium on an AD carry that was not run at all yesterday. You have to question the decision. You have to wonder what could have been.
Well, Champion has only had 4 wins out of 12 games.
Yep. This will now be 4 out of 13 if SK continues to lose.
Yeah, so we'll see how Lucian works out for Creaton. Questionable, maybe.
And then you contrast it to his Corki, which has got a 15 KDA. Yeah. And his Corki played fantastically. Would Corki have had the same impact? Who knows? You can't really 100% say, because in the laning phase, you maybe could have been traded a little more with that Kog'Maw.
Yeah, Kog'Maw himself has been having free roam. 7-1-5 so far, and counting. As the little explosive satchel charge blows up there, the rubber ducky, SK continued to push on the side. Cannon Minion is with them. They should take this tower down. I don't think Millenium are going to put up too much of a struggle for this one. They will, however, hold out on this inhibit turret.
So, wave clear again. This is the first time SK have sieged in about 15 minutes. It's all about Kerp, and then it's all about those skill shots. SK can tower dive if they want to. They really can make an effective tower dive. But look at the poke damage on Kevin.
Half hit points gone.
Couple of auto attacks, and that's your primary front line that is now not necessarily involved in the fight.
Now they're going to push in. Minion wave comes in. SK culling being used. Candy Panda still, though, getting the hits on it. Half the hit points go down. Svenskeren, meanwhile, has super minions pushing with him on the side there. Kevin's had to go deal with them. He's trying to lifesteal off those super minions. Kevin continuing to be a problem, but Svenskeren being a threat. That's surely now Kerp and Jree, the only two just standing here, trying everything to keep Candy Panda at bay. That was a good bit of damage actually from Kerp there. Super minions do push in. They're going to get cleared off the side there. Svenskeren continues to hit. The Baron up in 20 seconds time, and I think Millenium may back out of this siege. They're still pushing though, but Candy Panda has gone back to get some lifesteal on the jungle minions. Yeah, so Candy Panda's taken way too much damage while standing toe-to-toe with Millenium, and despite the fact that SK had super minions in the mid lane, the top wave is pushing against them. So SK should theoretically have actually pushed that wave out first. So if you hit the stall, which is what we're seeing, it would have allowed them to peel away and push to that top lane to get the inner turrets. Instead, once we see that very big wave from Millenium build up in that top lane inner turret, I think we're going to see somebody from SK backing away. I don't know if the team's going to continue to commit unless they find a pick. It does look like they're going to be playing it safe. Small misplay from SK. They could have made that push a little more effective. SK, of course, got the last Baron, but Millenium had a ward on it. They're well aware of the fact that it's just respawned. That's why they're feeling confident. They're pushing down. There is the inner turret going down. Millenium get themselves another turret. SK backing off here. Baron spawned. Millenium here in full numbers. Dangerous stuff from SK. You can see Freddy's got teleport. He has backed off. He's going to try and wipe that wave out down the bottom. And the rest of SK, the 3 members, will stick around and just delay the Baron. Millenium realize it. They're backing off. Something you actually see from SK all too often. The map-based mistakes. You know, they're generally very, very smart. They're generally very in control of when to siege, when to push. But it does feel like both of these teams are suffering from nerves. It does feel like there's a bit of a warm-up taking place, because this is definitely a slower paced game. I mean, we were looking at some of the stats coming into this matchup, and SK traditionally wins the games around 32, 33 minutes on average, and loses their games in the 40-minute mark. And Millenium are very similar. So we're starting to hit this, you know, per game average for both of these squads, and you can see Baron is a big objective. For SK, it's finding that pick. For Millenium, it has to be blowing Candy Panda up, but keeping Creaton alive. Let's see if they can make it happen. Dark Binding doesn't manage to connect this time around. Sven's still looking for the engage. I think Freddy has to start. This is a rough position for Millenium. They actually, SKF choose to let them back away from this one. They're going to move back towards that river position. Millenium, they were starting to get a little bit too clumped up. Svenskeren was sniffing around the back, trying to see if he could get Creaton picked off. Baron started off. SK going to start this one. See, Charm actually used. That's a long cooldown to be thrown out already. They may well try and pick up on this one. SK try and peel, see if they can get on towards Millenium quick to disengage. Jree trying to run the front line here. Charm lands on the cow. Jree taking all the burst damage. Will get his ultimate run in there. Mega Inferno bomb comes out. Svenskeren taking low, actually. The Cullen working well, and Millenium to brute force them away from this Baron area. I don't think either one has started off, because both Kottenx and Svenskeren are low on health. No, neither team really blowing summoner spells though, so we might just see a rearm, everybody healing back up and then going back to that Baron pit. We'll see who's going to back away first. But look at the minions in the bottom wave pushing in favor of SK. They're going to steal the blue buff from Millenium and grab themselves a dragon. So despite the trade going relatively even and Millenium preventing the Baron from happening, or you know, preventing losing any lives, it's SK that come away with 2 map objectives in their favor. 5 of 5 dragons in this game, and they've extended that gold to 14,000. Yeah, big lead for them. Somebody has to deal with that side wave. Kevin's finally going to go over there, but remember that tower, it took a lot of damage early on. It's down to below half hit points, so that's not a tower you want to let minions just free hit on. Kevin will clear that out. They're still so scared of this Baron. They've got no vision really other than that single ward just tucked in the back, which is now being cleared out by nRated. Top wave had been shoved out. Kerp went up there and dealt with that, so SK will have to deal with that one in a moment. It will slowly but surely push in favor of Millenium, as will the bottom wave now that Kevin has been down and dealt with that one. Kottenx getting the wards back in there. But SK, they've been holding out, and this is something we've seen a lot from European teams. This Baron down sometimes goes on for a very long time, and often I just feel it's the teams that just seem not too sure on what to do. I completely agree. SK have been dilly-dallying about for 20 minutes. This is a team that's got a 14,000 gold lead. Yeah, and you know, they had one team fight that went, ooh, that was a little risky in the mid lane, and that's just completely taken away all of their aggression. And when they did siege in the bottom lane, ooh, that was a good hit on Jesiz. Completely negated the fact that they had minions pushing against them in the top lane. They're pushing.
So
They're
Millenium
pushing.
are feeling confident. They feel they've hit some power spikes. The threats are still there. Freddy's going to jump into the middle. They've split up SK.
Freddy comes around the side. He's got in between 5 members. Kerp taking a lot of damage. He's very, very low. Kevin has got enough damage on towards him. That's it. Mid laner down. They're going to try and catch on. Soul Shackles from nRated will lock up Millenium. Kottenx is singled out next. That's going to be another down. They're going to keep on chasing this one. Creaton having to use the culling to keep them back. But SK, I think they're going to try and push for the win.
Despite the fact that SK was completely split up, the Millenium just do not have the damage to kill Freddy. So he survives, gets away with a couple hundred hit points, teleports in to get the inhibitor. Now this minions going to be here in a few seconds time. SK may not even need them. They're looking to finish this completely. The wave clear was with Kerp, and Kerp is not there. 5v3, this is the final fight.
It's going to be a quick pulverize. Jree hasn't got the damage though to do anything. He is simply a support cow, not an aggressive top laner. That is going to be Millenium ace. That is going to be SK taking game 1 of the series here. It is a best of 5, ladies and gentlemen, but SK starting off incredibly strong here. It took them a while, 46 minutes, but they won the game nonetheless. And honestly, it's a game they've had control throughout.
Slow and steady wins the race. And I do think SK was somewhat lost in the mid-game, but they did close fairly convincingly.
One thing I would look at for that game, pick and ban phase, we talked about it, final ban. Is it going to be a Maokai, or are they going to allow them to first pick it? We weren't sure whether Freddy would go for it. He did. It worked brilliantly. He got on Jesiz in that last final fight. Jesiz could do nothing. He was throwing out everything he could. Kerp, throwing out everything he could. But simply put, Freddy had got the damage and the sustain to deal with 5 members of Millenium all doing the damage, and he still took the mid laner down.
Letting Maokai through and first picking a Lucian on your red side rotation. Freddy became unstoppable, and Creaton, what was his final stats? He ended up 5-6-3. Yes, he got 5 kills, dying 6 times. You contrast that with Candy Panda's Kog'Maw, 10-1-7. I really think those are the 2 champions you have to be looking at and positions and wondering what could have been done better.
And Candy Panda, CS-wise, led the whole time in the lane. They both obviously lane switched, went up to the top there. Worked out well for them. Jungle interaction didn't really get too involved. And actually, Kerp had a pretty damn quiet game. 0-0. Both the mid laners, in fact, to not really getting heavily involved for a long-term period. That was a pretty long farm stage.
To be fair, he was playing Ziggs. And yes, there is room for outplay potential on Ziggs. But he just didn't ever have the opportunity. Things went even for so long. And then when SK decided to stop picking fights and stop punishing Millenium, they just accelerated to a lead, and all of a sudden, a Ziggs that is now defensive is just wave clear. When you're playing aggressively and your team is setting people up and knocking them up and locking them in cataclysms, then there's room for finishing moves. But it just simply wasn't the case this series.
Remember, of course, game 2 coming up shortly will be Millenium once again on the red side. Their choice. They chose to do that. Not too sure it was the right choice because SK looked good on blue side.
Yeah, the theory maybe behind the picks and bans for Millenium may be questionable. And Maokai might not make it through the next time. I mean, they banned Kassadin, Orianna, and Nidalee. Maybe you leave Orianna up